Hello everybody and welcome. Welcome to however many people I have on board. It's showing a 0 at the moment, but that may well change, or I may indeed just be talking to myself. Well, I can see, oh yes, now we've shot up to 9, not talking to myself. Hello Pizzazz, I can see you saying hello to Claire. Is that our spanner? That's the first comment I can see. So whoever is there, please reveal yourselves. Hello David, Wendy and Daisy. Hello Margaret. Hello Tish. I don't know. I left him, so for those of you that aren't aware, my beloved Apollo came in while I was on the phone to Kate at the Cattery actually. Hello Fran. And he had a little bit of a reddish eye, and when I looked, he had a milky circle. Hello, Spanner. Lovely to have you on board. Hello, Trista. And I rang up the vet emergency number. With eyes, I always say you need to take them in. I've been before with Baloo. Took him in, went to see a nurse. Didn't see a nurse. Went to see a vet. Don't know what I'm talking about. And she put some dye in his eyes, and she has said it's a severe ulcer. So then she said what he'll need is he'll need some antibiotic eye drops. He'll need some drops to lubricate his cornea. And she said what we'll do is we'll take some bloods and we'll create a serum. And this was kind of blowing my mind, if I'm honest. Hi Leslie, blowing my mind. How do you make a serum out of blood? Have I gone into some very strange world? And then that will go into drops because that's better for the eyes. So I was kind of a little bit head blown. So she said, can we take him away and take some bloods, have another look at the eyes? It was like, yeah, fine. Then she came back and said, oh, we don't need the serum, don't need the bloods now, because we're not going to use the serum because the eye drops out, apparently they're good enough now. And I was like a little bit, oh, my head's starting to spin a bit. And then she was like, right, okay, so these eye drops, I need to give them every 2 to 3 hours, and after the first one you have to wait 30 minutes and then you give the second one. Then he's also given what essentially is Metacam, which is an anti-inflammatory, and that needs to be taken with food, and that's going, and my head's like going, and I'm like, but what happens at sleep time? And she said he needs to have a collar on so he doesn't aggravate his eye. And I thought, well, he'll have that off in seconds, I imagine. And I was like, I don't understand. I said, because if he needs them realistically maybe every 2 hours, and then I've got to have half an hour in between, then that means that after 90 minutes I need to be starting to give him another treatment. And I was like, I won't get any sleep. And is that something I should be doing? And she'd left me at this point while all these thoughts are going around my head. And I was like, when she came back, I said, would it be better to stay in the hospital? She said, well, if you feel you're not able to do the drops, we could hospitalise him. And I was like, but it's not a case of I'm saying I can't do the drops. I'm just not sure it's a really good idea. A, because you're telling me that if he doesn't respond to the treatment, then he has to go and possibly have surgery to do a kind of an eye graft. And also if the ulcer bursts, he'll lose his eye. I was like, but I don't know. And then anyway, I'm getting quite emotional. And I said, look, there's another chap you've been speaking to, another vet you've been speaking to. I said, is he more senior or is he just... Oh, she said, no, he's just a colleague. Would you like him to come in? And I said, yes. And he came in. I ended up crying. And I was like, look, I just need you to tell me what is best for Apollo. I said, don't worry about the money. I said, it's what is best for him. And he again was like, well, if you don't feel able to do the drops. And I'm like, I feel like even being asked to do the drops is kind of like, have I gone into an alternative universe? So I made the decision he's going to be hospitalised. So that was about 20 to 3. And I rang them about 1. So I've been there about an hour. And then I phoned my mum. And I said, sorry, Mum, because obviously you've got quite a lot going on. But And she was like, Leonie, if you had chosen to take him home, I would not have been happy with you at all. And she said, can't possibly do that. And I was like, but I said, I feel really guilty. I said, I feel like, I felt like it was making me feel like I was a terrible cat parent for not saying, absolutely, I'm going to take him home. I'm going to stay up all night. I'm going to put this drop in. And then 30 minutes later, I'll put the other drop in. And everybody knows how cat-handed I am. Well, you guys do. And I'm like, well, I'm going to end up squirting the cream in his eyes, up his nose, in my hair, and will I actually get it where it needs to be? So, yeah, I'm going to phone them after the tour and just find out how he's getting on. And she said to me, does he like, when I put the deposit down, she was like, what food does he like? Does she like pilchards? Sardines, chicken? I said he's going to have a better time than he has at home. With the food. So yes, I was apologising to Apollo. I'm so sorry. And then I was like, why, Apollo? Why have you gone up to this nasty cat and bopped him round the head? Oh, he's bopped you round the head. I mean, he had a scratch on his nose. And then I've got the guilt of thinking, was it looking a bit funny yesterday because he had a scratch on his nose that I noticed yesterday? So does that mean he also had the eye issue yesterday and I missed it? And I was like, oh my goodness. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to enjoy this walk. So yeah, I think if my mum was like, it's crackers, you can't possibly. So thank you guys. Thank you for your support. So, the other thing is I thought, it probably was jealous of how good looking Apollo is that I thought if he's at the vets, they will notice if it's improving or if it's not improving, if they need to do something else. And then in the morning, because obviously they said we're an emergency service, we're not an ophthalmology expert, but you can't get referral because it's Sunday. So at least I thought tomorrow, hello Sue, hello Sarah. I was like, well, hopefully then in the morning they can, probably before I'm even awake, they can sort of decide what the next best steps are. And he'll then have to be referred to an eye specialist if there's no signs of improvement. Or indeed, even if there is, I don't know. I was like, wow. Little did I know it's going to be such a traumatic Sunday. But that's the life of being. Yesterday I was playing with a kitten who I realised was deaf. Today I'm now seeing Apollo, who's may end up becoming Pirate Apollo with a patch. And in that case we will have to get him a parrot. Not a real parrot, because that would be ridiculous. So yes, it's all been a bit of a drama, but how is everybody? It is Sunday, yes. It's meant to be. Well, my brother Googled and apparently Apollo is, I mean, I knew Apollo was a god, obviously, a Greek god. But apparently it's also the god of medicine and healing, which is lovely. Although apparently he can also be a god of, well, not is a god, not could be, of ill health and plagues. I was like, well, kind of contradicts with itself, doesn't it? Either a god of medicine, but also ill health. My hair, do you know what, Leslie? I think the same. Has anybody else thought that my hair is just like suddenly just ridiculous? 1 minute, I swear to goodness, earlier this year it was about here, and now it's down to here, and I don't know what to say. How can that happen? I don't know what to do. I mean, my sister, I think I told you, my sister turned around to me and said, she said, Leonie, you need to dye your hair. Oh, thanks for that. She said, yes, it's grey. I said, well, where is the grey? Everywhere. She said, well, okay, fine. Well, I'm not dyeing it yet. I'm not dyeing it yet until there's more grey. He could get the plague and then heal himself, but that would seem ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, maybe I've eaten. Oh, Leslie and Fran. Do you think there's actually some sort of, is it stress? Because if so, the next time you see me, my hair would be trailing along the floor. I think it's maybe a, what's it called? Thank you, Sandy. What's the word? An optical illusion. Because I don't think it really can have. It just, I did think a couple of weeks ago, it was like my hair just seems to have gone a bit berserk. Maybe it's because it's flat. Maybe if I need to bouchon it up like this. Has that made it short? No, it hasn't really. It just makes me look like I'm a rock star. Yeah, I know. Well, so does the menopause. So stress may make your hair fall out, but so does the menopause. So I always end up with glorious clumps of hair coming out when I wash my hair. I do think, but then of course they could actually be the same size clumps of hair, but because it's longer, it just makes it look more impressive. And of course, the other thing is, this morning I was speaking to my mother. She said, oh, it's raining here. And I said, oh, it'll probably rain here soon. But it didn't. Not until I decided I was going to take Apollo to the vet and want to put him in the car. Did it decide that actually, yes, it really needed to rain. So that was lovely, wasn't it? Let me keep an eye on the time, although I do have my timekeepers on board. It's all right. We've got 3 minutes. So it's a little bit wet. Which is not so nice. But then I wasn't really expecting tropical gloriousness. Hi, Sarah. Although it would be nice to have glorious tropicalness. It's a Sarah Fest. I was thinking the same myself, Tish. Can all the Sarahs stand up? We used to have a Sue Fest, but I think that stopped so much. Menopause hair loss is why you cut your hair off not long ago. Yes, well, I was keeping it to about that length, but it's obviously chosen to, I think it's because my sister and I had such a stress last time she cut it, and it was getting shorter and shorter. And so actually it's probably been about 10 months since it was cut. No, it's not. I cannot calculate February to October. That's only 8 months. Never mind, I can count everybody. Where's Michael? Where's Michael? Everybody? Can everybody do a shout out? Oh, he'll come back and say he was doing his polish. Or he was running. No, he won't be running. It's dark. That's the other thing that's a bit of a shocker. Drove home from the cattery yesterday. Well, actually, I stayed very late at the cattery, but it was stock. I was like, well, and then the clocks will go back, and then that's all, everything, isn't it? We've only got 1 minute to go, so get all your randoms out. Summon Mike. Wouldn't it be amazing if he actually then turned up, or actually might just be sitting there and deciding not to announce himself? Oh, he might be on holiday in Croatia, walking along the coast, and decides he doesn't actually. Now, what have I done there? You see, that was my rock and roll phase. I've got something that's all gone a bit terribly wrong. Oh, now look what I've done. I should have just left it to go. Hello, Laurie. Left it alone, even. Or given it alone. Give my hair alone. Yes. The price estimate just for today, by the way, was £500 to £1,000. Isn't that lovely? Isn't it lovely? Oh, super. You do know hospitalisation costs a fortune. Right, it's 7 o'clock on the nose. Thank you all for joining. Hopefully you are looking forward to what I can only say is a wonderful, relaxing, possibly walk along the coast in Croatia. Now, I think I've got the audio right, but what I will say is I'm going to press play, and then I need you to let me know if you can hear it. If you can hear it, that's splendid. Then I will probably reduce the volume because it's probably going to be a little bit windy, as it was on the coast. Well, it is the coast. I'll shut up, shall I? I can't hear a sausage. Can anyone hear her? Oh, yes. There you are. Fantastic. So I'm going to reduce the volume just a little bit. So this is, no, Leslie, there is a little bit of noise. I think it's just faint. The trouble is I don't want to, I mean, to be fair, there isn't much noise because there's not much happening, but I don't want you to be overwhelmed by the wind noise. Because I had my microphone on. So now I've just increased the sound a little bit and you can hear a little bit of windy poop. So we can do what we like with the audio. Look at this view. Isn't it stunning? And then have a look how clear the water is. The clicking noises is me, Leslie, I think, adjusting the volume, unless they continue. I did actually swim in the sea a couple of times. So if you can hear the wind and it's annoying, let me know. And I'll just reduce the volume. It is so fantastic. And what I really liked about the fact is that you can see. So if you're in there, I'm going to reduce it slightly. So you might hear a couple more clicking sounds. Is that you can look down and actually see what is underfoot. You're going to hear noises in a minute, I think, because... Listen to the waves. Hi, Ronnie. But that's a nice noise. They're all pebbly beaches around by Orebić. I think there was a sandy beach, but far, far, far away. And you can tell it was quite a cloudy day. But what you have got is, well, you've got this lovely kind of path all the way round. So really easy to walk round, but then you can just step off and... Do you prefer pebbly beaches? It's interesting, isn't it? I think for walking on, if you've got the right shoes, but if you want to get in the sea, it's rather, if you're fine if you've got your beach shoes. I made the last minute decision not to take my beach shoes. I decided I wouldn't go in the sea, and of course I did. And both times it was like quite a little bit ouchy. You will sometimes see when I start filming the hedge. That isn't necessarily because the hedge is that exciting. It's because I'm trying not to film people. And we are coming up to a little cafe which was playing music, obviously selling drinks, ice creams. And I think I was then singing along to this song. Open 10 till 7 by the looks of it. I think it said 10 till 19, so I'm assuming obviously you could also take out surfboards and whatever. I imagine in high season there could well be a bit of water sports going on out here. There was none of that malarkey when I was here because I was off season. But everywhere you go along this path, pretty much, you can just, unless it's quite overgrown, you can look out and just see that wonderful view. which is just, you don't really appreciate it so much when you're there, I think. And then when you're back, you're like, oh, it'd be nice to have a walk along by the coast. And I don't know if you remember when we went to Bratch Island. But we had, I'd been walking along and found a naked man. So I was a little bit cautious, but I did not find any naked men. I did find a chap exercising, which I found quite amusing, and I think is at the end of this video. Isn't it got, and I love the trees. Look at the curve on that one. It's almost like you could sit there reading a book. You wouldn't, because you'd break the tree, and by you I mean me, but you can see the sun trying to peek its way through the branches on the left. I imagine it would have taken quite a while to lay this path as well. It's quite thick, but obviously with so many trees, the frustration for them must be that actually some of the trees are slightly uprooting the path. So you can just, if you wanted to, quickly nip down, choose somewhere to, and there, can you see straight ahead? You are looking towards Korčula. Laurie, I will have to take your word for it because I have never been to Monterey, California. But also what's interesting is just the rocks. I know when we went to Bratch, we saw obviously their white stone that they use. And actually in Orebić itself, they had some little shops selling some of the white Bratch stone. But these massive boulders. And you obviously have a few hotels along this path, but we're going to go and see something else which is slightly less touristy, shall we say. No idea when it was built, and I don't mean the very attractive pair of trunks. I remember once when we were in the cemetery, we found I think a trainer, didn't we? I think we found a sock before, or is that just on my front lawn where I found a sock that I think a fox has brought? So just random items of clothing, I think. I just seem to collect on tours. I didn't actually pick it up for obvious reasons. So the hotel I stayed at was the Amanès Grand Azur Hotel. Yeah, Tish, I think when I was first saw it, I thought, oh, is that a cat? No, it's not a cat. It's a pair of trunks. That's definitely not something cute. And I'm going to see a sign in a minute. And by that, I don't mean a sign from, above. Now, if you look up, do you remember if you saw my Facebook post that I actually walked up to a monastery? Well, I walked up pretty much as high as that, which is astonishing. I could not walk as high as that. But now actually I look at it up there, I'm amazed that I even got anywhere near. So I'll show you the sign. I think it's, oh, isn't it just divine? And the views, obviously We were looking out to the Adriatic Sea. We're on the Dalmatian coast, 101 of them, bum bum. But I was on, when I went to Bratch Island, obviously, I was on the island looking back to this kind of view. But it's the same through, which is lovely. Of course, this is a path that looks like you probably shouldn't go up, or that it will take you to nowhere. So I went up it. Of course I did. I'm just so inquisitive. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen it, Wendy, but, you know, c'est la vie. If you're wondering what the noise is, I think that's my my feet. And then you look down, woo! Actually, we're not going to see the sign yet for a minute because I went off-piste. Past the cardboard box. Past the water bottles or whatever they put on there. And I'm now at the road. Unfortunately, I had thought, oh, be interesting to take a turn left, but actually you can't really, because you are just on the road pretty much after a little bit. So the even just walking past this, you have to be careful because you're actually coming out into the road slightly. Then I was, shall I carry on going to see what's round the corner after I slapped myself in the face? Oops. Oh, yeah, the sunsets as well are beautiful. Then I came here and I was like, well, what's going on here? We've run out of road. We've just got a couple of very nice flower pots, and I think probably they're there to stop people driving into the wall more than anything. Or I don't know if that's just a British thing where people do things like that. And then, wait for the car to go past. Don't want to get squished in Croatia. You can imagine though, can't you, just owning a house here and then looking at that view every day. Does it look like I'm about to drop off? Woohoo! Yes, I won't forget that sunset tour in a hurry. Oleander the oleander. And the thing is I love about just going off-piste is that sometimes you see the strangest things. And this is one. So there's a seat, there's a bath with a sign saying swimming pool, which I found rather funny. Ooh. And I decided it probably wasn't that safe to walk any further. I love the sparkliness of the water as well. And then you turn around and you see these, I mean, look how tall they are. I was concerned the gimbal was going to fall on my head. And I wouldn't really want to park there because there's not much to stop you carrying on driving, is there? And just go, whoopsie, overshot the parking space. Past the lovely planters, and then we see something that isn't perhaps as gorgeous. I have no idea what's going on the right here. Just lots of random parts. And a hole. A very big hole in the fence. Air conditioning units, I imagine it gets scorchio. Temperature-wise, we were looking at anything from sort of 19 to 22. I say we as if I was actually there with anybody else. My gimbal and I, we were experiencing 19 to 22. And this is then the car park for another large, well, this is the hotel that we saw, obviously. This is another M&S. There seems to be quite a lot under the M&S umbrella. Then back down past the cardboard box with no name. Oh yes, taxi boats every 24 hours. Now I saw something saying it was about €7, but I couldn't understand how... Well, no, there was a robbery, can be very clear, at the Louvre, but actually it was in the Apollo Gallery. So my brother has suggested that Apollo was actually in the gallery, which is where he got his eye injury. And again, it's so clear that when you're looking out at the sea, that you can see through it. You can see it's a see-through sea. Apparently the Louvre had a robbery a few years ago where somebody just went and took a painting off the wall and walked off with it. So I find that slightly odd, that you could just go in. Now we'll be looking in more detail at that building on the left there. Whilst listening to the waves. If you look at the sky, well, don't actually look at the sky. If you, this is me zooming in or trying to zoom in on Korčula, whilst being very aware that when I do that, I never seem to get it back to where I wanted to. I'm very well, thank you. Aren't they just? Yeah, they're often, I mean, you do get the ferry going from Orebić to Korčula and obviously back again, which I found I enjoyed watching. But at one night there was a massive, and I mean massive, cruise boat, and it was had the lights on, and it looked really kind of picturesque. Now, don't ask me why, but funnily enough, that whole thing just went dark. My phone, I think, somehow went, it's too bright. But anyway, we're looking up at the monastery again, Wendy. But the size of the boat was just the thought of being on it actually was just, there's so many people. I still don't quite understand how something so large and so heavy floats, but never mind. So yeah, if you looked at that top ridge, I was actually walking along there. I was going to say thank you, Melissa, and then I realised that actually it's got nothing to do with me. I did not create any of this beautifulness. There's the boat. And then if you look, now this is interesting. So if you look, you can see there's a there was a sign. So there's the back of the hotel. I think we look back at the sign again in a minute. Look at the water, because I'm just obsessed with how clear the water is. It's like literally. Oh, I tripped then. I either sneezed or tripped. I think I may have sneezed. It sounded more like a sneeze. I do know on one of the videos I tripped and shocked myself. I'm not sure which one it was. See there? So I actually thought, I have no idea what this means, so I Google searched it. And it said it was a memorial. Well, I'm really not convinced of that. So then I did a bit more research. And it's actually basically saying you can't dock your boat there. Now, this was a little gem. I was like, I cannot find out. No, this isn't the... Hi, Tina. This isn't my hotel. We will pass my hotel. This obviously is an old... Well, again, amusingly enough. So I looked, and there was various ideas of this. But this is obviously apparently Virgin Mary, Jesus, and a saint. Now, I think that could be St. Francis, but I don't know. The reason being that there is some Latin there, which is Arsum Fraterum Minorum. I apologise, I don't speak Latin. Funnily enough, I put that into Google Translate and I came up with, now this is interesting, look at that. 1898, I think. So I put it into Google and it came up with, suggested Arsenus, the younger brother. Well, of course, that made me laugh quite a lot. Arsenus. No, I tried again. It's the Order of Friars Minor. It's the Order of the Lesser Brothers, founded in 1209. They're Franciscans. St. Francis of Assisi. Oh, for goodness sake. I'm going to give up talking sooner or later. Now, this order observes the gospel, lives in obedience and chastity, and owns nothing individually. Isn't that fabulous? And of course, we know when we met Andrea again, that she was talking about all the different brothers. So this would be the Order of Lesser Brothers. So it's not a church as such, no, but it was obviously a religious... I don't know what it would have been used for. I'm guessing it, yeah. Fascinating. And actually, when I searched the image, there is an entry of it from, I think, about 2011 marked up. So this is the back of the signing, do not moor here. Yeah, well, yeah, but when did the chapel, church, monastery, whatever you call it, when did this building close? I mean, goodness gracious, there's a church, there's not a church, there's a hotel just up from it. So, but I couldn't find anything. I'm sure if I'd have, asked locally, they would have known, but I just found it fascinating that this is almost in the grounds of the hotel. Yeah, exactly. It is, I mean, just beautiful. And to almost just stumble upon it. I would love to know when it was built. What's inside? So if we were going to the right, which indeed we will be, that would be the way to walk into Orebić Centre. And not interestingly, I will wait to be advised otherwise, but I believe these are Lantana Camara, or yeah. Anyway, also known as yellow sage. I've seen a few of these around now. And they're absolutely beautiful. Oh, yes, I think older than 1898. I think that somebody's just carved their initials, so older graffiti. I was trying to chase the bee, and the bee was very busy, but hopefully you can see. But beautiful coloured flowers. Oops. And then you can see some over there. I think that might be, yeah, yeah. Oh, good. I'm so glad. Yes, such pretty, but also then, just really interesting to look at. Poisonous to small animals. Unfortunately, that's the same with a lot of these plants, aren't they? They're either healing or killing. No, I didn't do this as a live tour, Tina. I did some recording for use for future tours, which is indeed what this is. So I took myself off, myself and my gimbal, say goodbye to those trunks, and trotted around because I already had 2 tours. Obviously, I did do the sunset tour and I did the tour with Andrea. And this is me going off-piste, and hopefully you will enjoy the fact that I went off-piste because we have some prickly pear cactus, which I did not touch. I just admired. Did I touch? No, I didn't touch. I did slightly think to myself, are there snakes in Croatia? Will I get bitten by a snake? But I didn't, so that's good. Well, yes. I mean, falling in that would be slightly painful. You can see the kind of spiky bits on there. But fantastic colours. I believe you can eat prickly pear. Yeah, well, Melissa, do they come with their prickly bits come off? I don't think I've seen them in the local Sainsbury's. But this is massive, isn't it? I was like, oh, this is usual. Sprawling. That's a plane, if you can hear some slight noise there. I was obsessed with the size of the plant. Tastes like watermelon. Gosh. After all that. And it just tastes like a watermelon. I guess there's a lot of water in them. A lot of water content. And there, of course, is the back of the do not anchor sign. It tastes like a chicken eating a watermelon. Well, I'm glad we've cleared that one up. I can always expect the absolute truth from all of you. I do hope that's not a swear word in Croatian. Don't smoke. Don't have these land on your head. They're sweet and tart and juicy and delicious, and they don't taste like watermelon. There you are. And they don't taste like chicken or chickens eating watermelon. See? I have to put it on my list of things to eat at some point in my life. Then I'll probably find out I'm allergic to it. Aha! This is me trying to unearth pine cone and then actually get it in front of the camera, which was less easy to do. It's quite a large one. And then I decided to put it back exactly in the place that I found it, in case it made friends with the soil there. I'm sure there will have been somebody walking along this path and had a cone fall on the head. Oh gosh, Trista. At a local park, a hiker was killed when a tree fell on her. Well, that's quite... Yes, that's cheery. Prickly pear juice also makes an excellent margarita. The margaritas I like are pizzas, so I'm not sure that's going to help. And I did have an excellent margarita last week, may I say. An ice cream cone, yes, but if it fell on your head, it would no doubt... Look at all that. It would no doubt be the ice cream first, rather than the point of the cone. And I did think when it was... Because I think it was quite windy on one of the days I was walking. I did actually think about that very thought of if a tree fell over. Quite enjoyed doing that, by the way. I'm not sure what I was trying to show you there, but I did quite enjoy it. The teeny tiny steps. I was trying to get an arty shot in here with the trees, and then another tree popped in and it all became very tree. Hopefully Linda will decide that's screenshot worthy. Bit of dead foliage there, I'm afraid. Another path down. I can imagine this must be so busy, although to be fair, the hotel that I was staying in told me that it was fully booked, so no, Linda B will probably be on the beach herself today, but she likes to watch videos, tours later on. Oh, did something just... No, it's just the water. I thought for a minute a fish popped out, but no, it's not. I got some excellent footage in Cortula when it got quite... the water was quite, shall we say, energetic against the side of the rocks. This is very peaceful. I wonder how much maintenance they have to do over the winter period, because I imagine there are a few fallen trees in storms. The tourist information in Orebić is actually open all year round, even an off-season. And imagine this place must be fully packed. And there you have some fungi. Even when I'm in Croatia, I managed to find some fungi. Quite impressed with that one. And then I quickly nipped through, because obviously this is where YouTube will probably pick up some sort of singing, and I don't want to get a strike because they're playing some sort of #1 hit, although I think all the songs were from the 90s, but I'm going to talk through it. I think actually they had Michael Jackson on one, which I thought, oh, that's interesting. Would that be YouTube approved, or was it Madonna? I think there might have been a Cyndi Lauper one. Either way, these are obviously, if you had yourself a nice mattress, bit of a cover, that would be nice. Spend the whole day. I wouldn't want to spend the whole day, I'd get completely bored, but And really, how is that tree still there? Because the lean on that is quite impressive. And these are the ones where you are allowed, because you can see everywhere where you can sort of wrap your rope around. I've forgotten what the word is, the mooring. Oh, absolutely. Everybody should visit Croatia. I mean, Andrea would say everybody should visit Korčula. There's still a lot of places I want to visit in Croatia. Tying myself in knots, Tony. And then, oh, look, stopping and, oh, what's this? Oh, look, more pretty colours. But different. See, this I like because it was, oh, well, this is nice. You give me the pink and yellow and the orange and yellow, and then you give me some sort of berries. What berries are these? Will I ever go to Dubrovnik? Well, I've the town of Dubrovnik is on the list, yes. I mean, I could have chosen, it would have taken about 2 hours on a coach to go to Dubrovnik, and I would have had about 5 hours there, and it would have cost about, I forgot now how much it would have cost, about 75 or £100, something like that, or euros, sorry. And I decided that I would do it another time. Now these are the grounds of my hotel. And these are little changing spaces. So you walk in, I guess check that there's nobody in there already, and change. Or you just do it on your sunbed discreetly. I tried to take my wet bikini top off and put on my t-shirt, which was a vest top. I ended up getting my arm in the wrong hole and all very muddled. So yes, probably that's why these changing places exist. So this is just walking round to the very front of the hotel. Without tripping over. I don't think this is a path well travelled by people staying at the hotel, to be fair. Although I could be wrong, because this goes round to the car park, and then you see the back of the hotel, and I will show you, well, I won't show you where my room was, but you will see some of the hotel windows. When I say windows, and it will become clear. Hopefully. So, unfortunately, there were no balconies on the back rooms. So you open the doors, and you can't step out, but you can let a breeze in. Or you can, as I did, open the doors and go, is it cold? Is it warm? What should I be wearing today? And this is one of those fallen trees that we spoke about, and I decided I would not go any further to investigate. Yeah, they were. I mean, it would have been nice to have a balcony, just because, I mean, I say that a balcony if it had been covered, because obviously the weather meant that you spent some time in your room reading, which was nice. So my sister, yes, look at that. I was really fascinated by this tree root. This is something like it could be in a horror movie, I felt. Have you ever seen anything so gnarly? I think that's a good word, isn't it? Gnarly. It's not a word you really get to use that often. I mean, I'll be honest, I booked it. I didn't even realise it didn't have a balcony until I got there. I went, oh, okay. For those sporty people, you too could be playing whatever. Badminton, looking out at the sea. No, not a snake. That would have been quite scary. Probably wouldn't have got that close, to be fair, Pizzazz. If you are enjoying the video, please do like it. I believe it helps with YouTube algorithms. Who knows? Yes, to the dog beach. It's the next 50 metres. Sadly, it's not a dog full of beaches. No, a beach full of dogs even. It is just a beach where dogs are allowed. I don't think I saw any dogs on the beach. And thank you to those who are able to support me. As you know, tour guides are not paid. We rely on the generosity of your tips, and I've put my links to my PayPal and my, obviously, if you'd prefer to use Buy Me Coffee, let me know and I can send you the link. Bit of a chunk out of the bark on that tree. And there again we have that beautiful view. Be interesting to see it in all the different seasons. The different colours. And I think there are people here, which is why we're looking at the trees so intently. And I think I thought about coming down here and then I realised there were people. So then I decided to retreat. Or I went a little bit further. Who knows? I'm sure there are people somewhere that I suddenly saw and went, oopsie. Because the last thing anybody wants is to be on a YouTube wearing their trunks or their bikini whatsits. Couldn't find anything in these little pools of water, which is probably a good thing. I probably didn't want to. It was just fun to see them fill up. And then obviously going up into the pebbles. And again, you've got the used stones to form little walls and barriers, and these steps, for example, if you look at them, that rock looked like a clog. Maybe it was a clog. And again, you see the pebbles then in the path. That's quite cool. I like that. I quite like that design. Oh, there you are. See, people's moving quickly on. We're going to come up to my favourite place when I did this walk in a minute. Again, be careful where you walk, because at night you'd come down, obviously walk past. I'd walk past from, if I did the sunset tour, I'd walk past this. And you did need to keep an eye on where you were walking. And here we are looking at my favourite spot to the left. You may ask, why is that your favourite spot? And you will soon see, hopefully. Why do you think that's my favourite spot? Exactly. A bench. How amazing a bench. I can sit down and see a bench. I can't sit down. What is wrong? I can't sit down and see a bench. I can sit on the bench and see the view. Now, I saw these. I was like, oh, what's happening? It looks like somebody's been chucking raspberries from their breakfast or their lunch or their dinner, or what's happening. It's very strange. If they've fallen from the sky, they must have fallen from somewhere. And then I was like, oh, look at these. The phone didn't want to focus on these little pom-poms. Like, will you focus on the pom-poms, you blasted phone? It was like, no, I will not focus on the pom-poms. I will blur those pom-poms for you. And what I would say to you is there is so, and this is dead, this one, which is quite interesting. There is so much if you just go out and have a wander and have a look. Sometimes we get all in the hustle and the bustle of everything, and actually if we just walk, see all the fantastic things there are to see. Of course, the bench is rather wonderful as well. But there's another reason, apart from the bench, that this is my favourite spot. Apart from the pom-poms, which are scattered they do look more like raspberries, but obviously they're not raspberries. But now this is interesting. This is probably why you guys... I suddenly saw, goodness gracious, what is going on? There is a man doing exercises. How very strange. And you can hear the sound, obviously, of the waves. which is rather lovely. Isn't it? Oh, I sat down. I was like, well, this is really rather nice. The sky's wonderful. The water's wonderful. Now let's see what's to the right of us. And I wonder if that man is still doing exercises. Just really serene. But let's have a little walk. Let's have a look at the water. Is it? Yes, he's turned round. He's still doing exercises. Good Lord. If I think he's crazy, he's thinking I'm crazy. Why is this woman walking around with this phone on a stick? And then I found this, which made me love the spot even more. So we have a Nemo fish, we have a crab, we have a, what do we think, a shark or a dolphin? A starfish, an octopus. I mean, so cute. And I was like, how long has this been here? Those colours are still lovely. And now he's doing more exercises. Was it a child who did them or an adult? These are things we need to know, and we will never know. This is just a wonderful, well, yes, probably more like a dolphin than a shark. It didn't really fit in, you know, with the whole, you know, cute animals. Suddenly if you had a Jaws on there, but and again, just super clear water. It's pouring now here. And you see there, you see that material kind of, whatever they put on there makes it much easier to walk on without hurting your tootsies. Bye, Pizzazz. Been awake for 27 hours now. Gosh. That's quite a lot. I can't either. It's just so clear. It's stunning. And I hate to say that it very much looks like that has finished. So, my dears, It's tipping down. Well, it will be, Leslie. We're not that far as the crow flies, I guess. But probably be a little bit tiring for the crow. So thank you all for joining. I think I may be going slightly mad. I think the stress of recent weeks has actually made my brain pickled. Thank you all for joining. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it does incentivize you to go to Croatia and visit lots of the places. I know I still want to visit so many more. There were some really delightful surprises as I was walking around. It was like, wow, look at this, and wow, look at this. So yes, I will, once I finish this, I think I will have something to eat, and then I will phone up the vets to see how my beautiful boy is doing, bless him. So take care, everybody. Thank you as always for your support. See you later. Bye.